I mean, even while Donald Trump, of course, may go ahead and make these tall claims, at the end of the day, when every time there is this regime change operation, we know that Iran is not a Syria. We know that Iran is not the other countries. Iran already had in place several rounds and rungs of succession prepared to take over from Khomeini because they knew that the strike was imminent. So, is this really even a regime change from the American definition?
It depends how we define regime change. I am sure that the Americans don't like the regime in Iran, and I know the Israelis don't like the regime in Iran. The feeling is mutual, by the way. So I don't think it's a one-sided affair. But I don't really see the Americans certainly don't have a plan for what comes after if there were a regime change. And Donald Trump, who is not a very sophisticated person to begin with, saying things like, "Oh, it's time for the Iranian people to take the country back." That doesn't really mean anything if you don't have a program. In fact, we know that some of the attacks have actually targeted even opposition leaders in Iran. And those who have for years been trying to reform and democratize the country. Some of those people, including most of those people, are no more fans of the United States government or of Israel than the current regime is. So I fear that, and I don't mean to sound too cynical and alarming, but I fear that the plan here, at least from the side of the Israelis, and let's not forget they're involved in this, is not necessarily to create a regime change to something specific, but really to create a power vacuum, to create chaos, to weaken Iran generally speaking. The last time Iran had a different regime was before 1979 when the Shah ruled Iran, and he was a US-backed dictator. And before that, you have to go back to the early 1950s when Iran did have a democratic government led by Mohammad Mossadegh, and he was overthrown by a coup led by the United States and Great Britain. So we don't really have a clear alternative to this regime. We don't know what comes next. And I fear that the point is not to say, oh, let's take care of the people in Iran. It's more, let's create such weakness and instability in Iran that they cease to become any kind of factor geopolitically in the region.
I would want to